The gentlelady from the District of Columbia, Ms. Norton, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for this important hearing. Let me note at the beginning that the rights of LGBTQ District of Columbia residents are particularly at risk. With House Republicans in the majority, Republicans have consistently tried to overturn DC local laws protecting this community, the LGBTQI community, including trying to overturn DC's marriage equality law, blocking DC's domestic partner law, and allowing religiously affiliated schools in DC to discriminate against LGBT students. Statehood, of course, is the only way to ensure DC's laws are not undemocratically overturned. So I'm proud that since Democrats took the House 4 years ago, we have advanced critical legislation to protect and expand the rights of the LGBT community to live their own authentic lives. That's why, Mr. Robinson, the House passed the Equality Act last year to codify protections for the LGBT community against discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. I was original co-sponsor of the Equality Act. So my question for you, Mr. Robinson, is how would the Equality Act enshrine protections for this community or for LGBTQI plus individuals across the country?
Right now, LGBTQ plus people are living with a patchwork of protections across the country. There are 29 states that do not have non-discrimination against our community laws in place. And so yes, we identify as full Americans, but America is not giving us all of the rights that we deserve. Passing that law in DC was critical, and as a resident, it was meaningful for me and for my family. It's essential that we pass these types of laws all across the country and put the Federal Equality Act into place.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Mr. Wolf, what does the Equality Act mean for the LGBTQI plus community in communities across the country?
Thank you for the question. You know, as Kelly said, it's important because we are not afforded the same non-discrimination protections that other groups are. I say this as a person in the state of Florida. One of the things that we've worked on, I work for Equality Florida, the state's LGBTQ civil rights organization. One of the things we've been working on for years is implementing comprehensive non-discrimination protections for LGBTQ people in our state. So what does that mean? It means protecting LGBTQ people from being denied housing, for instance, because we have a boyfriend, not a girlfriend. It means protecting LGBTQ people from being fired from their jobs because they have a picture of their spouse on the desk. And so the Equality Act would, in ways that Florida has refused to do and other states have refused to do, would apply those non-discrimination protections across the country. And I'll expand just a little bit to say that goes beyond the LGBTQ community, that there are other marginalized communities that are further protected under the Equality Act, and it goes beyond just housing, public accommodations, and workforce. It goes into credit and other things like that, essentially saying that LGBTQ people, like every other American, deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, and we deserve to be protected from discrimination.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. Ms. Peacock, in June, this committee favorably reported the LGBTQ plus Data Inclusion Act to the full House, and which passed historic legislation in commemoration of Pride Month. I was an original co-sponsor of that bill. This bill would expand the collection of voluntary self-disclosed information regarding sexual orientation. It would help to ensure policymakers can better understand the specific challenges that this community faces. So, Ms. Peacock, what kinds of specific challenges do the LGBTQI plus people who you serve in your community face in the areas of health, care, housing, and education?
Thank you for asking that question. You know, we see double, sometimes triple the rate of suicide risk, school truancy, lack of care. I had one 13-year-old show up at our center who was living on the streets because it was safer than home. About a third of our young people experience homelessness. So it's so important to track data so that one, we know how well we're doing for these young people, and two, so we can prevent the things that they're facing.
Thank you.
The gentlelady's time has expired.